You ever get that feeling where you walk into the shop and the air just smells like potential? Or maybe that's just the scent of the WD-40 I spilled on my boots yesterday. Either way, it's a good day to be a maker. Welcome back to the den.
It definitely smells like something, Tiger. Let's call it industrial ambition. I see you've survived another night without the lathe reclaiming a limb, so I'd say we're off to a winning start.
Barely. The shop gods were merciful. But listen, we've got a lot to chew on today. We're talking about everything from the ancient art of banging on hot iron to using artificial intelligence to hunt down a decent price on cold-rolled steel.
AI and blacksmithing in the same breath. We really are living in the weirdest timeline. Where do we start?
Let's start with the stuff that keeps us from face planting into the scrap bin. MSA Magnetics put out these new magnetic cable organizers. Now, I've spent more of my life than I care to admit playing double dutch with my welding leads and extension cords. It's a dance nobody wants to see.
I've seen your dance, Tiger. It usually involves a lot of colorful words and a frantic grab for a workbench to steady yourself. Are these just fancy magnets, or is there actually some meat on the bone here?
It's the simplicity that gets me. They're these heavy-duty hooks and channels that just snap onto any steel surface. You can route your power lines overhead or along the frame of the machine. It makes your floor look like a ballroom instead of a snake pit. I remember once, back when I was starting out, I tripped over a cord while carrying a freshly glued tabletop. It was like watching a slow-motion disaster movie, wood, glue, and sawdust everywhere. If I'd had these magnets back then, I might still have a full set of nerves in my left knee.
Safe to say OSHA would approve, but speaking of steel, you mentioned AI earlier. I thought you were the guy who still uses a slide rule for fun.
Hey, I appreciate the old ways, but I'm not allergic to progress. Dan Davis over at 55K Fabricator flagged this new AI sourcing platform. It's wild. It used to be an internal tool for big distributors, but now anyone can use it to track down specific alloys.
So, instead of me calling 4 different suppliers and being told we're out of stock 4 different ways, I just tell a computer what I need?
Exactly. It looks at the market rates and tells you who's got the 4130 chromoly you're looking for without you having to beg for a quote. It's like having a concierge for your metal rack. It's a far cry from how they did it 250 years ago, which is the milestone American metalworking is hitting right now.
2.5 centuries. That puts things in perspective. I bet those guys would have traded a kidney for an AI sourcing tool. Or, a power hammer.
Oh, they were the ultimate make-do artists. They were forging their own nails and fishhooks out of whatever they could scrounge. We stand on the shoulders of giants, Alex. Every time we flip a switch on a TIG welder, we're finishing a conversation that started with a guy standing over a pile of charcoal and a bellows.
Well, that conversation is getting pretty profitable lately. I saw the latest AWS Welding journal. The numbers are staggering.
It's no joke. 80,000 openings. If you're sitting at a desk feeling like a ghost in a machine, there is a literal mountain of work waiting for someone who can lay a clean bead. But the industry isn't just looking for burners anymore. They want specialists.
Right, I saw the certification list. CWI, CWE. It sounds like alphabet soup. Break it down for the folks who don't speak welder.
Here's the secret part. A CWI, Certified Welding Inspector, is the person who says yes or no to a bridge staying up. It's high pressure, but the pay reflects that responsibility. Then you've got the engineers, the SUANGs. They're the ones blending the metallurgy with the automation. If you like puzzles and you don't mind getting your hands dirty while you solve them, that's the golden ticket.
So basically, if you're tired of the boring 9 to 5, you can go build a skyscraper. But speaking of boring, what's this about a boring empire? It sounds like an oxymoron.
This blew my mind. Catherine Nicolai. She created a podcast that is intentionally, aggressively boring. Bedtime stories where nothing happens. And she turned that into a media empire with over 100 million downloads.
Wait, so her special sauce is that she puts people to sleep? I thought that was your job when you start talking about wood grain orientation.
Low blow, Alex. But seriously, she found a niche. People are stressed, they can't sleep, and she provided the antidote. It's the same lesson for us in the shop. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you just have to solve a simple, annoying problem for people and do it consistently.
Like Eli Mash and his coffee?
Exactly. He started an anti-inflammatory coffee brand called Maker, hit 100 grand in his first year while working a day job and raising 3 kids. No fancy venture capital, just a product that people actually needed and a lot of late nights.
It's proof you don't need $1 million factory to start. You just need a kitchen table and a lot of grit.
Grit and maybe a little finesse, which brings us to the CNC side of the house. Everyone thinks you just hit go on a CNC and the machine does the work. That's the quickest way to break a $100 bit and ruin a $50 slab of maple.
I've heard you grumbling about tool paths before. Is this where you tell us your latest horror story?
I once programmed a toolpath that was so aggressive it sounded like a Gatling gun going off in my garage. I was trying to skip the leads and ramps.
For the uninitiated, translate leads and ramps into English.
Okay, think of the router bit like a plane landing. You don't want it to just drop straight out of the sky into the runway. That's a plunge, and it leaves a nasty mark. A ramp lets the bit slide into the wood at an angle. It's easier on the motor, it keeps the bit cool, and it leaves a finish that looks like glass. If you master the software side, moving the tool smoothly instead of violently, you'll double the life of your cutters.
It's the difference between a hack and a craftsman. Speaking of finishes, I saw a budget bass guitar on your bench that looked like it belonged in a museum. What's the trick there?
That's the Temu bass. I bought the cheapest kit I could find just to see if I could make it sing. The secret isn't some expensive lacquer booth, it's true oil.
Isn't that for gun stocks?
Spot on. It's a blend of linseed and other oils that dries hard but stays flexible. You rub it in with your fingers, layer by thin layer. By the time you get to the 10th coat, that cheap wood looks like it has a mile of depth. It's a patient man's finish. You can't rush it or it'll get gummy. But if you give it the time, it resonates beautifully. It doesn't choke the wood like a heavy poly finish.
Small investment, big payoff. I like that. It's a bit like the masonry work we've been seeing from Liberty Masonry lately, blending that old-school stone look with modern structural integrity.
Precisely. Whether you're stacking stones or rubbing oil into a bass, it's about respect for the material. You can't bully wood or stone into doing what you want. You have to negotiate with it.
All right, Tiger, we've covered everything from AI steel scouts to boring sleep empires. Give us the North Star for the day. What's the one thing people should take to their workbenches?
I'd say it's this. Consistency is a superpower. Eli Mash didn't build a $100,000 brand in an afternoon. Catherine Nicolai didn't get 100 million downloads overnight. And I certainly didn't learn how to ramp a CNC bit without burning through a dozen of them first. Don't be afraid of the boring work or the long process. The finish is only as good as the layers you put down underneath it.
Well said. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go see if I can use AI to find someone to organize my scrapwood pile.
Good luck with that. Expect the computer to tell you to just buy a match.
Fair point.
Thanks for hanging out in the den with us. Now, get off the internet, get into the shop, and make something you're proud of. We'll see you tomorrow.